Hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing The Investigator by Margarita Khemlin. This is a mystery historical fiction kind of novel. It's set in the Soviet Ukraine during the late 1940s, I guess, till the early 1950s, and it follows a Soviet Union police officer as he investigates the murder of a young woman. I would say that it's definitely not your usual mystery novel. There's so many layers to the plot, it's really complex, and the story takes place over a number of years, I think, which kind of makes the investigation feel more authentic. One thing I really liked about this book was the fact that it includes a really vivid array of characters. Everyone is really distinct, and I could picture all of the characters really clearly, and I feel like they were all very unique and kind of real. The protagonist, he was really unlikable. He's definitely not a character that you're gonna read and be like, I love this guy. He's pretty horrible as a person, and he's also a very unreliable narrator, which is kind of what you want, I think, in a mystery novel. It just added so much mystery to the plot as well, because you're never quite sure what exactly is going on, which is great. In terms of the characters though, I did find the Russian names quite confusing. This book is translated from Russian, and Russian names to me, because I'm not Russian, all sound very, very similar. And to make matters more complicated, each character was kind of given like 3 different names. So they had their, first name and last name. Sometimes they were called by their first name, sometimes they were called by their last name, and then sometimes they were called by a nickname. So each character had 3 distinct names that they were called at different times, and it was a little bit hard for me to keep up with that. I did get the hang of it by the end of the novel, but it was something that took a lot, a bit of effort to get my head around. The setting was really great. It's such an interesting time period to have this kind of story set. Like I said, it's not your usual mystery, because there's all this like historical background that's going on at the same time, and the fact that the investigator is part of the Soviet Union is something that's really fascinating to me as well. It makes me really want to learn more about Russian history, and well, Ukrainian history, I guess, because I don't know very much about it at all. It's set around the time of World War II, like when World War II has just recently ended, and any World War II stories that I read, I'm a New Zealander, so our links are all like with Britain, so any perspective that I've come across in the past has generally been the British perspective. One thing with setting again that came up was just the Russian names of different places. I think the story is set across like 2 or 3 different towns, but I could never quite keep track of like who was from which town, who was living where and what took place in which town. It didn't really matter, which is a good thing. Interestingly as well, this book is actually not divided into chapters. The whole thing is just all together in one. That's something I've never come across in like a fiction novel before, and I never before realized how much I depend on chapters to like kind of pace my reading out. I don't know, I've never thought about that before, but I did find that kind of weird. I think because of that, it made me feel like this was a little bit slow to get through, but at the same time I like didn't want to put it down because I was so hooked into the story. It's one of those like mysteries that you just have to find out what's happening, because there's so much going on. You're just like, what the hell is going on here, and you really want to get to the bottom of it, and I think that's really great. That's the way a mystery novel should be, so this definitely achieved that. And despite feeling a little slow because of having no chapters, and because of the fact that it takes place over a number of years, like I said, the story itself I think covers at least 2 years maybe, and then it also has like not flashbacks, but like it has parts of the story that are told of stuff that happened before this story took place, which goes into like the 1940s. So it does take place over a number of years really, and that can slow a book down too, but because it was so enthralling and because I really wanted to know what happened, that didn't take away from the story at all, and I still was definitely motivated to finish it by the fact that I really wanted to know what was going on. I didn't find it predictable at all either. There was just so much to this, and it was so like well thought out, and there's so many different little bits and pieces that add up at the end, which is just awesome. Like so many different things tie in together, and I really enjoy that in a novel like this. I thought this book was amazing. It was awesome, and I highly recommend it if you're looking for a different kind of mystery novel. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars in all. I'm really thankful that I got to read it. Yeah, it's one that I definitely, as soon as I finished it, I kind of wanted to go back to the beginning and read it again, because when you get to the end of a mystery or a thriller or something and you find out what's been going on the whole time, and you want to go back and see if you can like look at it from a different point of view, because when you know what's going on, it's like almost an entirely different story, so you kind of get to read it twice. So I'm really excited to reread this at some point as well. I think it's going to be like sooner rather than later, because is just awesome, and it's the kind of thing where you're like, wow, and you want to go back. So really enjoyed this. So let me know if you guys have read this, what you thought of it, or if you're thinking of picking it up, let me know that as well. I will link down below my Goodreads if you want to follow me on that, as well as my Instagram and Twitter, and I will see you guys with another video in a couple of days. Bye.